So this is the funda that I follow, in every situation. Rather than saying, I wish it is easy, I wish, there are no competitors, I wish there are no challenges, right? If we therefore, one of the important mindsets that we need to have, right? How do you approach something? Difficult, easy, moderate, whatever you call it. What are the three things that I can do if I have to make this better? I call this as approachable goals. If we keep talking about ये क्यों नहीं हुआ, ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, तुमने ये क्यों नहीं किया, it's not. How long will you keep doing that? You are only putting, the leg on your brakes, and you are still expecting the vehicle to keep moving forward. Please release your mind from that brake and start thinking about what are the three things that I need to do to take this forward. Second mindset, which I feel very important. The third mindset that I say is anything that I do, I must adopt my mindset, which means I take the responsibility and accountability for ensuring that it is done. If I say that the management has asked me to do it, then I am being driven by somebody else. If I say that the management has discussed with me and therefore I have taken the responsibility to get this done, then when you are a team leader, you will be able to exactly communicate to your people that it is your own and therefore it is the team's own responsibility. Right? The second aspect, in this that I say is when I use the word adopt, the second word that I use is adapt yourself to the changing circumstances. Don't keep on telling people, oh, zamane mein na, it was very easy. Oh, we used to meet the doctors very easily. They used to give us time. Now they don't give us. No, anybody, I always say one thing, gets the time that he deserves, not the time that he desires. So please deserve. And the third aspect that I say is become adept. If you have got to improve your skills, please work on it. If you've got to add more knowledge and you've got to become relevant, please add the knowledge. Don't sit in the same place, and as Marshall Goldsmith says, what brought you here won't take you there. Please, therefore, use these three mantras: adopt, adapt, adapt.
Very rightly said, sir. The right mindset is really required for a people to grow. Now, sir, you have seen the transformation happening into the industries of the pharmaceutical industry. Now, a lot of digital and the digitization initiatives are there. How do you see, sir, these changes as compared to even you are much more senior than me also in the industry, sir. So I think, sir, you have seen even the generation, sir, I should say. Yeah. So how do you see, sir, these changes are happening and how someone can really, apart from, what you said, sir, this all the success mantra, the mindset. So how do you see these journeys are happening in the industry?
I think it's a very relevant question because, again, I quote, Jim Rohn. This time, like all times, is but a good one if we know what to do with it. So if there are changes that are taking place, I would say that the changes that are taking place, we have to adapt to it. Right. And therefore, we need to upgrade ourselves with whether it is a reskilling or upskilling or whatever you want to call it, you have to ensure that it is done. Now, the third thing is you must know when to use what and where to use what. So it is not just because we are talking about digital. Everybody starts talking about digital, digital, digital. No, digital is an enabler. It's a technology. It's an enabler. But behind that enabler, there is still a human being. What do we do to make that human being effective? So the digital is going to be only an enabler because today's world, we have constraints because of this pandemic, that created, right? Though it is not there now, but we still continue to live at least in one corner of the mind, that we have to be careful. That's why you still see people, wearing masks and moving around here and there, etc. The second important thing we need to look at, Pankaj, is where to use these enablers. Could it be because we are not able to meet the doctor face to face, and therefore, we could find a way how to connect with him? Or the other way around is it because we want to scale up the operations and therefore we don't have to go on adding, physically people? We could find a way, therefore, to scale up the operations through these enablers. And the third aspect is we are able to give a choice, to the customer in terms of what they want to pick up as the content based on their context and their relevance. And this gives you a broad, bandwidth of picking up what you want. I have hundreds of things in Google, but every morning when I read, I pick up only what I want. So, it caters to it. So what I'm saying, therefore, is if we could look at it from this angle, I feel that even today, with all the changes that are taking place, it could still be, the best of the time, that we could have to make ourselves, one among the best industries according to. Because you made a point right in the beginning, we are a knowledge industry. Unfortunately, we are forgetting that all the time, and we are making ourselves as a trading transactional industry. We have to be an industry, that is able to share knowledge, add value, and then, your reputation and image, helps you to, make the brand a choice for the doctor to prescribe, and therefore, it becomes, useful for the patient. See, we are, ultimately, Pankaj, we are forgetting one fact, everybody, even in the sales meeting. The other day, I was addressing a set of general managers of a company. I was telling them why in the sales meetings, why only one language is used. Kitna becha hai tumne? Kitna units becha hai? Kitna? Why don't you say how many lives you touched? Let him say that, sir, this month I have added another, 100, lives, that I have touched because I have 100 new prescriptions that I have generated. Yeah, even the representative feels that he is adding value when he is in the marketplace. His self-esteem goes up, his self-respect goes up. He feels more confident. So, we have to change the mindset. The same sales managers still now talking about coverage kitna hai, call average kitna hai. I mean, they are all there in your SAP tools. So why do you have to sit in a 5-star hotel sales meeting and ask all these irrelevant questions? You should have done your homework. So, I'm saying, one thing is that, it is up to us to adapt to these changes, and we need to change our language. We need to change our language.
So, sir, touching to the very softer aspect of it, what you said, I remember the famous quote by Van Dyer. He said, the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And the way you said that, why don't we change the language? The moment you change the language, your rep will feel that I am so much valuable to the community. I am doing such a good job. And I remember, sir, I was working in one of the organization in Indore. And we all were waiting for our call to come, and doctor was about to call us. I saw one medical rep came in jeans, wearing jeans and shirt. I just called him. I just asked him, you are from which company? What is your qualification? So my colleague asked me, sir, why are you talking to this person? He is not from our company. I said, he may not be from our company, but he belongs to our profession. I cannot allow someone to wear such a dress and come to a doctor wearing, jeans and like this. That is why, in the industry nowadays, doctor do not respect medical rep. The respect, sir, which you might have seen, you have been invited by a doctor to conduct a session for their juniors. And because of the knowledge, because of the sincerity, because they see that you can really add value. So a lot of things, deteriorations are happening in the industry across. Where the role of the manager really plays a very important, sir. So, sir, please share something, which will be very helpful for upcoming leaders, for the first line managers, second line managers, because these people are the real coaches for the new joiners, the hand holding, the mentoring, what they provide to their juniors.
See, the first thing I would say is even before going to the managers, Pankaj,
Yeah.
everything, percolates from the top.
Mhm.
So the leadership has to be the role, has to be, or the leadership seat that people hold on to as leaders. They should, build, what I call as the currency of leadership, that is credibility,
Mhm.
because they are the role models, right? And they are the ones who are setting the direction for an organizational culture.
Mhm.
Now, they are not solely responsible for the culture, because culture has to be everybody's responsibility in the organization. But somebody has to start. And therefore, the leadership team, right from top to the frontline managers, will have to follow, a certain culture, right? And as this guy typically says, Peter Drucker, culture, eats a strategy for breakfast. You might have the best of the strategies, but if you don't have an ecosystem or an environment where, you can nurture yourself, you are not going to achieve it. So when I use the word, therefore, this credibility, right? Credibility involves, three things in my opinion. One is being effective, and it is in a simple way doing the right things. It's not just doing the things right, doing the right things. The second point that I would say is we've got to be relevant to what we are doing, right? So I can't, be like a tech company fellow. I'm into healthcare. I'm into lives of people. I'm meeting, professionals like physicians, doctors, super specialists, and also being consistent in what we are trying to do. आज एक दिन हमने ये बोला, दूसरा दिन दूसरा किया, right? I tell people something, but I don't follow it myself. So that currency has to have a value. That leadership currency of credibility has to have a value. Then I will tell you one thing: everything will fall in line. We don't have today great role models in the pharma industry like we have had in tech industry, etc. Right, and that is the reason why probably we are still looked at as people with vested interests trying to push drugs like commodities.
Very nice, sir. Sir, now coming to the final two more questions. How do you see life, sir? Few life lessons, if you can share, sir.
Oh boy, I have to, I have to become a Gyani, for this. Right. Uh, there is a nice saying, somewhere I read. Life is not a problem to be solved, right? It is something to be lived.
Mhm.
One. Second, I say is even beyond a living life, I would say, can we lead our lives? So if I have a purpose, see, when I was in an organization, I had an organizational purpose. Today, I'm not in an organization, but I'm an individual. But do I have a sense of purpose? My sense of purpose today is touching, human lives by adding value to them, by being a coach and a mentor. Right. Therefore, if this sense of purpose of mine I'm connected to in whatever that I'm trying to do every day, whether it is in social media, whether it is on any platform, or as I am now talking to you, or in my mentoring and coaching sessions, that I think, life is according to me, worth living. That's what I would say.
Wonderful,
Challenges
sir.
would be there.
Yeah.
Challenges would be there.
So you kept yourself, sir, very relevant to the changes and maybe to the social media or maybe into the coaching, executive coaching industry, especially in the pharmaceuticals and other industries, sir. So that keeps you in the race, and that keeps you at the leadership stage in whatever you are doing, maybe for the organizational front or maybe the personal things, sir.
Mm.
Sir, anything else which if we are missing, sir, would you like to share with the audience, sir?
See, one thing, that I say, I come back to, one of the questions you had asked, and I thought, I must
Yeah.
elaborate further because there are a lot of managers today in the industry.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right, whether it is a frontline manager or whether it is a second line manager or whether it is a zonal manager or whether it is a national sales head or for that matter, marketing people or anybody else. One of the things that I see is they are still not understanding their role, and they don't know why there is a structure into which they have got to fit in. I always say one thing: an organizational structure has to be designed in such a way that it has to support the overall strategy of the organization.
Hmm.
Now, there is a role that we have got to take. Now, that role, in my opinion, has got three dimensions. Any role, whether it is yours or mine, or the manager, or the CEO, or even the representative. And the first part of that role is responsibility. What am I responsible for in this role? Now, along with that, definitely gets tagged, the accountability. There is no separate, this one into that. Now, if I have to fulfill the responsibility in this role, I need to have areas of relationships. It could be up, it could be down, it could be sideways.
Yeah.
Because you also connect to your peers in the organization. You are interdependent. You are not independent.
Mhm.
Now, you also have to connect with the outside world. Right. You're connecting with your team members. You're connecting with your top people. Do you know, therefore, how do you work with each of these relationships that you have? The third aspect, therefore, that I say is you must therefore know with each of these relationships what is going to be your area of contribution. This is where, if this clarity is brought to people, I promise you, Pankaj, every single manager, irrespective of the position he holds, will be an effective manager. Now, I will give 8 points, relating to being an effective manager. And
Yeah.
this is not my original. This is something, that I have adapted, from Google, which in the year, 2002 or somewhere around that time, in that decade, they did a lot of work asking a fundamental question: do we really require managers at all? What are they doing? Then for some time, they abolished the total managerial segment. Then they decided, with the new MD coming in or the new CEO coming in, they decided, no, we should not take such unilateral decision. Let's go down the line and ask our people, do they really require a manager? So the majority said yes. And then they asked the next question: if you require a manager, what he should be if he has to be effective? You know, what is the first word that was captured? They did this survey with 30,000 employees
Mhm.
across the globe. And the first statement that comes is, be an effective coach.
Mhm.
We are more into command and control. We need to move out of that. If you want to develop your people, you have to become a coach. And telling is not coaching. The second point is empower your team. Don't poke your nose into every small thing. Empower your team. The third aspect they said is express interest in team members' success and well-being. It's not I, it is they. Because if they do well, I do well. Simple. The fourth aspect is be productive and result oriented. The next one is be a good communicator and listen to your team. One of the worst skills that we have. We need to improve. The next one is take interest in their career development. I'm telling you today, I feel so proud that so many of the guys, ex Galderma guys, who worked along, with me in whatever position they were in, it doesn't matter to me. Right? They are all, in good positions in different companies. And I'm glad, that I have contributed to the dermatology fraternity, so many great people. Right? I was only a trigger. It was they, who have done it. I feel very proud of it today. Right? The next one is have a clear vision and strategy for the team. Why only strategy and vision for the company? Why not it for your team? That's important. And the last one I would say is have key technical skills, knowledge that are required to help advise your team when needed. This is what it is.
Wonderful, sir. And not only to the pharmaceutical industry, everywhere. Whatever these 8 nuggets, if anybody really wanted to, really shape up the company, so well, really wanted to be on the path of success, they can, make a note of it, and they can really, if they implement it, they will definitely going to shine. Wonderful, sir. It was.
I will add, one more thing to you, Pankaj.
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
I'm fortunate enough. God has been very kind to me, and I'm grateful to everybody. I am no more just a pharma, coach or a mentor. Today, I have become an industry agnostic because I not only deal with, I'm currently, in my client portfolio that I have 10 CEOs that I'm working with, starting from a 2,000 crore company to 2 crores company. And out of this, there are only 2 pharma companies that I'm dealing with. Right? One of the companies that has really grown in the last 10 years exponentially, Incubaticals. Right? I have been mentoring the MD for last 10.5 years, and he has been so benevolent. By the end of 5 years, he has extended, my support to another 10 people in his company, his direct reports. Very large-hearted man. Normally, CEOs don't, extend, their coaches or mentors. He has done that. Right? I deal with a chemical company. I deal with the biotech engineering company. I deal with the high-end, MD of a security company, services company. I deal with the infertility business company. Right? I deal with partners of taxation and audit firm. Right. Apart from that, so many of our people, where, they say, sir, can I talk to you for 15 minutes? Right. It goes on and on and on. And I feel very privileged. I feel very humbled. And I think, God has been extremely, kind to me. That's what I would say.
Wonderful, sir. So inspiring. And good thing is that sir, you are not now limited to only pharmaceuticals. You are basically, grown up in pharmaceuticals, but now available for the entire, the world to give the services. One thing is very common, sir, that you are so humble, which I commonly now, sir, I can say because you are the one now the fifth discussion in the conversation I'm having. People are having the same echo voice is coming, sir. That God has been so kind to me. So everything what you owe to God, sir, that's the amazing thing which I'm noticing, after having this interview, sir. Really, sir, it was an amazing discussion and the conversation with you. I feel that in the industry, anybody can learn many things from this your entire journey, and especially the nuggets what you shared, especially for the leaders and the managers, and maybe for the higher leadership for the organization. Thank you so very much, sir. I am actually working on a book, especially for sales and marketing people. What I'm doing, sir, in this book, I am putting, all my experiences in the format of a stories. And I will definitely come to you personally, sir, in Mumbai, and we will discuss about more about this. And I really would like to have your guidance and the support for this, sir.
Sure, we'll do that. Pankaj, you're doing a great job. Really appreciate and thank you, for looking at me also as one of the persons, whom, you would like to, interview, and I feel privileged and honored. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Bye bye, sir. Wish you all the best, sir.